I'll give you my relegation first. I've got Fulham, West Brom. Those are I'm quite confident that they're not going to do that well. They're just not up to scratch, I don't think, for the rest of the Premier League.
And why do you think that?
And why do I think that?
Yeah, why do you think? Yeah, I'm calling you out immediately.
Right,
Welcome to the Footy Forum podcast, mate. You have to explain yourself and justify your decisions.
West Brom, I just don't think they've got the strikers. I don't think they've got that striking potential, to be honest.
So it's a goal-scoring problem?
For West Brom and for Fulham. Fulham are just not, they're just not there. I went Sheffield United. Is that controversial?
Interesting.
Yeah, that is controversial. So I'm going to,
yeah.
Okay,
explain your logic. Why Sheffield United? Yeah, they're at the bottom of the table right now. I see that.
They've not won. They've not won a game.
Yeah, no, I can also see that.
And they've only drawn one. So they've lost 7. And I think last season they were exciting. You were like, oh my God, they started really well. Sheffield United, they've come into the Premier League. This season, it's like they don't have that. They have had a shit start to the season, and I'm not seeing that same fight. It seems like they're just not. Last season they were excited. This season I'm not feeling it. I just have a feeling they're going down.
I think it's a fair explanation. Obviously they've started badly, but what I would say, I'm gonna just go out and say I did not put them in my bottom 3 because I believe in Chris Wilder. I believe in him as a manager, and I also think they have quality. But I think that they will come on, especially in the mid like Christmas time, a little after that. And I think they'll have a better end of the season. But I'll talk more about that when it comes up to my turn.
That was a terrible answer. Let me put this to you, Talia. Okay, what it was is they got themselves in a good position at one point. They went on a good run, but then what was shocking is they stayed there. You know, they maintained their position throughout the rest of the season. Right. This season, Sheffield United, terrible start. But if you watch their performances, I've tried to defend them. Even against Leeds, they're one of the best teams Leeds have played so far in terms of the performance. But let me also put this to you. So they got 1 point, and Fulham have 4 points, and they're 17th. And the goal difference, Fulham is better by 2. So let's assume a match week happens. I'm not sure if Sheffield United are playing next, but let's say they win that game. Let's say they win by 1 goal. They win 1-0. And Fulham lose their game 2-0, and West Brom and Burnley also lose. Sheffield United jump out the relegation spaces.
Yeah, but I still think they're going down.
That's all what ifs. That's what ifs, man.
I think Burnley is going to clinch it.
You think Burnley? Okay. You think okay. Okay. So you think because they have 2 points.
For me, it was between Sheffield United and Burnley to go down.
Okay. Yeah.
And I thought Burnley. Well, I think Burnley they're gonna get it.
So you've got Burnley 17th, I take it.
Yeah.
And why do you think Burnley have an edge over Sheffield United?
What
have Burnley showed you that Sheffield United haven't?
Well, last season Burnley was strong. Sean Dyche has a good amount of Premier League experience. I think he knows what to do to keep them up. I think they're a solid Premier League side, Burnley, for a few years now. So I think they've got it. They're going to edge it.
At 18th. This is going to be very controversial, but I put in Brighton Hove Albion.
You put Brighton in the relegation.
Brighton will be.
No.
Explain this to me.
You thought Sheffield United was controversial.
Explain. They're both controversial, so quiet.
Brighton Hove Albion.
No. Explain to me how Brighton's performances have indicated that you think they might go down more so than other teams.
Performances. So performances is what gets you through or not? Or does points? How many points does Brighton have right now?
Points? But how do you win points?
Points! It's not like, Leeds have a great performance, put them first. No, man.
No, but...
It's results.
It's
if points.
Over a whole season.
How about over 8 games? How about over 8 games? Okay.
Exactly. 8 games. That's my exact point. 8 games. They should be higher based on their performances. They should be way higher up in the league. But over the whole season, that's going to come to fruition, and they're going to get more points over the season, and especially more next season. But why does teams win the league because they do the best performances? Yes, they get results, but they also have to play well. Liverpool didn't just they got results a lot of weeks, but they played well. almost
It's
every
about
week.
grinding out those results when teams are getting tired, when there's injuries, and I think
Which is why Brighton will finish lower down in the table, but their performances are good enough to stay up.
Yeah.
Listen,
Shocking.
they played at home against West Brom. They couldn't get 3 points there. They've lost some games that they shouldn't have. Man United, it's going to come back to bite them. All I'm saying is great performances. It's great. No, at the end of the day, they haven't been able to pick up the points when their performance has been good. And I think, given a team like Brighton,
I've figured you out, mate. I've figured you out.
Listen, it's controversial. I like that it's controversial, but I don't rate them.
Finish talking. Take your
I
time.
don't rate them. And I think, you're going to see over the next few weeks, even into Christmas, that performances here nor there, whatever, they could have great performance. But if you don't pick up points, there's nothing else that matters.
19th, Burnley.
That's shocking, man. What are you talking about, mate? That's not going to happen.
Do you know why Burnley finished 10th last season?
I think they grounded good results.
Wrong.
They're good at home.
They're good at home. I don't know what it is, but they feed off of their home advantage. They're away from home, they were awful. They were near the bottom in terms of just away table and much higher up in terms of home table. Very good at home. But they don't have that home advantage right now this year, and obviously we'll have to see how the pandemic goes. But I just think that's going to really hinder them, and it's hindered them so far. And I just can't see them picking up results as the year goes on. And I don't know if, Sean Dyche has been an incredible manager for them, but I don't even know if he'll last the whole year at this rate. And then you bring in a new manager, and it takes time for things to gel. I just can't see it working out for them. And they didn't sign anyone, didn't make any signings, so there's nothing to show me that they're going to make some sort of big signings in January that's going to, shape things up a bit. They didn't make any signings, so... And all the other teams have kind of shown a willingness to spend even during the pandemic. So those are my reasons why I put Burnley 19th.
They won't sack Sean Dyche. If they sack Sean Dyche, that's crazy. I think he overstayed his...
We've had the Ranieri conversation, haven't we?
But we're talking about Burnley. Burnley is, for me, the reason why I like Burnley is they're a proper English workman style club. They're
very efficient.
So in 18th, I have Newcastle United.
It's shocking, but
it's not
going to happen.
I'm not going to lie. I actually don't think it's that shocking.
I think the motivation within the club and the relationship between players, manager and ownership, I don't think it's that good. Obviously, I think Steve is a great manager, but the problem for me is the ownership and the relationship between the manager and the players and that ownership. And I can't see anything coming in January. And they're just, like you said, Callum Wilson is injured. They're just an injury or two away from collapsing. And something that stood out for me, and I pointed out to Jovan at the time, was the way their heads dropped when they played Man United. Like, a team that collapses like that in 10 minutes shows a team that have no character. And that's the kind of team that, as Jovan was trying to justify with Brighton, a team that will just kind of crumble if they start going on a bad form. And suddenly will look like a completely different team. And they don't have great players. Like, they've made some good signings, but if you look at the whole team, it's not that strong of a squad. And as I said, and when you have a lack of depth like that, you're just a game or two, or an injury or two away, from being in quite a bit of trouble. And I just can't see them. Doing well this season, and I don't have any confidence in them. And I think they're a team who also, like, with a big crowd at St James's Park, can use that a lot to lift them, but they're also missing that. So I think their home form suffers because of that, and they're not very good away from home. You see the way they set up, like against Tottenham, like how they got a point out of that game. I have no idea. And I look at games like that, and they just don't have anything going forward, and they're not that solid defensively.
Let me just put it this way: there's teams that are worse off than Newcastle. Newcastle have enough quality not to be in that position. Are they going to be in the top half or even in the middle table? No, they'll be nearing the bottom, but there's no chance that they're going to be below some certain teams like West Brom. Where's West Brom? I mean, I'm interested to see
where have you put West Brom?
Like,
next.
Oh, okay.
West Brom, my 17th.
You think they're staying up?
I do think that. I think they have a good chance of staying up, yeah.
Why?
I think Slavan Bilic is a good, experienced manager in the Premier League. He's had Premier League experience. He hasn't had a ton of success in the Premier League, but he's had experience. And I think it's important to remember that you learn from your mistakes. When you're at that sort of level, you make mistakes, but you learn from them.
I don't think West Brom have the quality in them.
See, I'd argue a couple things. I would say, firstly, they do have quality in their squad, and they have players who they bought in who were on loan previously. So they're players that, know the system, know the players. There's a certain chemistry there. And on top of that, there's still the January window. And I think West Brom are a team who are willing to go and spend more if they have to stay up. And I think over the season, they'll pick it up. Like right now, it's not great, but I think that I just have faith, again, kind of like you, just like a bit of a gut feeling that over the season, they'll get stronger and they'll build on, a couple of results. They haven't had those results that clicked yet. I think if they beat Chelsea, they didn't have that collapse against Chelsea, which Jovan was just in shock about. I think they would have had a certain momentum going beyond that, but it was almost on the flip side, because even though they didn't lose, it felt like a loss the way they were up 3-0 and then it was 3-3. Yeah. And it does affect your mentality when you're a team like that. So I think if they can get a bit of momentum, they can be quite good. Not phenomenal, obviously. They're still 17th, but enough to stay up, I think.